Hello and welcome to Student Blog. In this series of Terraform training sessions, we'll be creating resource groups and volumes using Terraform. So, in our previous video, we are looking at how to create an AWS account and also how to create admin group and assigning roles to the user. Then we using the graphical mode, we created a security credentials, and we also downloaded access key and secret key, and also we created a security like a VPC security group using GUI graphical user mode, and also now we assigned ingress and egress rules, that is inbound and outbound rules for our security group, and also we created a EC2 volume of size 1 GB. So same thing we'll be doing, like what are the resources we created, same will be created, you will be creating with using the Terraform. So requirements for creating resource in AWS using Terraform. So first thing is we'll be using MS Visual Studio Code. Then we need to create a folder for our Terraform, and then we need to create a, a main.tf file, or it's a, I given the name as main, but you can give anything like resource.tf, whatever it is. Then we need to declare the provider as well as resources following the Terraform acceptable syntax. So these are the things we are going to follow these. So let's go to our machine here. So this is AWS console, but we will be using this only to validate whether when we use the Terraform, and when we apply Terraform apply, then we will just validate if resources are getting created. So let's go to our Visual Studio Code. So as we said, we need to create a folder, so that we already created. So lab.1 is the one which you are going to use. We'll minimize this, and from Visual Studio Code, VS Code, like we'll be opening that folder. We already opened the folder here. Now we need to create a file, so that is we are going to use it as a main.tf. TF like is the extension for the Terraform files. So whenever you create a file with TF extension, Visual Studio Code, uh, like it's very much intelligent. He's like the Visual Studio Code plugin, which is already like we enabled it. Terraform Terraform plugin is enabled, so it will give all syntax, and it will try to correct us if we give a wrong syntax. Here, as discussed, we need to we need to uh, like we need to provide the provider as well as resources here. So before we do that, let's check the syntax of provider as well as resource groups, security group syntax in Terraform. So let's go to Terraform website, and I just opened it. When you Google it with the Terraform provider syntax, you will be getting this. So here you can see here, this is the syntax which we are going to use it. So here, like a provider is here, if you see here, configure the AWS provider. So here, like provider is AWS, so, and region is east, US east one. Along with that, like here, if you look at it, they are trying to create a VPC. Okay, so this is the syntax where we have to follow the same. So let's go and create it. So whenever you create a provider, the so Visual Studio will help you to with syntax, which it give you. So you need to put provider as AWS. Once you do that, you'll be seeing that like it is auto pop-up. So next we will be like giving the we need region. So before that, let's go back to the example here. So check, do you have any arguments mentioned here? So it's not mentioned here. Okay, leave it. So generally arguments are like mandatory things which we need to provide, then only we'll be able to provision the resources. We need to, the mandatory argument is region, which we have to mention it, like our region is US West to, and the next comes is access key and security key. Without that we cannot connect to the AWS console, AWS our whatever the account we created. So for that we need to mention the access key. So we'll put it later, and secret key. So let me grab the access key and secret key. Okay, so once this lab is done, we're obviously going to delete these keys. So it's not safe to use it like publicly. So next is to create the security group like VPC security group. Okay, so now provider is ready here. So we are good with it, and let's go back to our AWS Terraform Terraform website, and we'll look for AWS security group syntax here. So this is the syntax we need to use, like resource is AWS underscore security underscore group. So this is the default one which we have to do it. If you change it something like security underscore groups, then it won't work. So this is the default API provision, like default like Terraform like syntax which we must follow it. And this is like a name of the resource which we can which is optional. Whatever you have, you want, you can mention it here. And description is also optional, which just to identify it, you will mention the description. And as well as you can like here they are mentioning the VPC underscore ID, VPC ID. But if you don't mention it, it will take it as default. Whatever default, it will be taking that VPC. And you can mention a tag here. And also along with the resource, you must mention the ingress and egress port details. So here if you see here, like they are giving port details as 443, protocol is TCP. That means 443 port is enabled. From port to port is same, so that means that 443 port is enabled. So same thing, like now if you go down, this is egress. So here they mentioned port 0, but generally if you mention it like from port is 0 and to port is 65,535, then all ports are open. And even protocol -1 is like all ports protocols are open. So CIDR underscore blocks, if they mention as 0.0.0.0/0, that means all subnets are allowed. And this is for IPv6, which most of the time we won't use it. So apart from that, if you see what is optional, what is mandatory, if you go down, there should be some arguments mentioned here. Yeah, argument reference, which for example description is optional. If you don't mention it also, it will work. Even for egress and ingress is optional. If you don't mention, then obviously there won't be any like security group, VPC security group will be created, but there won't be any rules for inbound or outbound. So without that we cannot connect. But you can also create without inbound outbound rules. Prefix name is optional, name is optional. So these are all optional, and even tag is all optional. So if you see here, VPC ID is also optional by default. Defaults the region's default VPC. This is what we are discussing. And if you see ingress also from port is required, to port is required, and protocol is required. This is what mandatory. So we need to follow this whenever you open any like Terraform. If you are going to create any resource, just go to Terraform website and look for the syntax, and look for the mandatory arguments, optional arguments, and you can just create the resource. You can like Terraform apply, and then if the syntax is everything correct, then obviously you will be able to create the required resources. So let's go to our main.tf file. So now we have already added provider here, and now we are going to create a security group. For that we need to mention resource. So resource is like AWS underscore security underscore group, and name is, you can mention anything. I will mention as a sec group, something like that. Then oh, no. Okay, then you have to mention the name, which is optional, but I will give it. So that will be same as sec group, which is already we mentioned it, and description is also optional, which we can mention it as AWS security group. I'm just giving it normally. So yeah, then we need to mention the ingress and egress rules. Let's copy it from here itself. Instead of typing, we can do that. Let me copy. Okay. Okay. Then we have given ingress and egress rules. We have mentioned these, like port I'm going to open all ports, and protocol TCP, as we discussed, like this is a lab, so we are opening all ports. But in production, if you are going to use open port 80, then you have to mention from port is 80 and to port is 80. And if you are opening any other port like 22, port 22, then obviously ingress you have to mention one more rule with from port 22 and to port is 22. So now let's give the tag name for that security group. Tags is equal to, so these like this syntax you will get it in the Terraform website. Name is equal to seg group. Okay, now we have one more task, that is to create a resource for AWS volume, AWS EBS underscore volume. If you see for volume, you will get this one also, and you mention the name as something like my volume or anything, whatever you feel you can mention. And you need to mention the availability zone, that is important. mm. So availability zone should be related to same region which you are using. US dot west dash 2a, that is the uh, availability region, availability zone, and the size equal to, I am going to create a 1 GB for now. And again, you can mention tags for this also. And name is equal to, I can even give anything like Terraform volume, something like that. And I believe we are good for now. So this is the this is a syntax we'll be using. I'm just saving it. And we have we can okay, so now how to run this one? So that is the question. One thing is you can go to this location and run the PowerShell as administrator. Using this you can run the run you can run Terraform, or one more option is to go to terminal and create a new terminal. So what happens is it will create a terminal using the PowerShell. So we'll do from both and see how it goes. So before that, if you go, last time when we discussed, first step is to initialize Terraform. Without doing that, it doesn't work. So whenever we initiate the Terraform, it will download the providers, whatever you mention, it will download the provider API, all stuff. Let me show you. Now this is empty, only have a main.tf file. Once we initiate the Terraform, what will happen? We'll see. Terraform init. So you see here, backend it's initializing and also initializing provider plugins. So it is trying to find out the latest version, and now it is successfully initialized. And if you go to this folder, you can see a log HCL file is created, which holds all version details, everything. And if you see this Terraform folder, it is having provider details, it will have a provider file in it. If you see here, this is the AWS provider file, which we don't want to mess with it. And even if you can see the log file, what is there, we can see all details here, like version details, hashes, everything. So even don't mess with this one. So now it is initiated, and the next step is to validate. So we'll use Terraform validate to validate our TF file, which if one just want to validate whether our syntax is correct or not. Let's run it and see what will happen. So configuration is valid, success. So we don't see any errors. So even if you see here, there is no changes happened, but there is a command like a Terraform plan. So if you want to check, if you want to plan it, and if you want to make sure you want to run the plan and see how it goes, then you can run Terraform plan. Then if Terraform plan is successful, then you can apply the plan. But for now, in the next come videos, we will use that. Even if you don't know, you can run that help command, Terraform help, to get the details. You can see what all can be used, and even for any command like Terraform plan dash help, then you'll get help for that plan, like what commands can be used, all details you'll get it. Make it maximize. Okay, so you'll get all information, and you can see what is what. And yeah, for now, let's try to apply the Terraform. Let's run it. Terraform apply. So here, if you run Terraform apply, then it will execute and it will ask for confirmation whether it will give an output of like Terraform file, like what is going to happen in the environment post before going for applying it. So it will give an output, and if you validate and if you type yes, then it will start provisioning the resources in the AWS. So even if you don't want any like if you want to run it auto no, like without answering anything, so you can apply Terraform auto apply command. But right now we are just in the first phase, so I don't want to use all. Like going forward, we'll look for what exactly what is a shortcut ways we can do. Let's run it. So now we can see it's applying it, and if you see the output here, like Terraform will perform the following actions, like it is going to like it's validated everything, and what is going to do is it will create a like a group, a security group, and it will also create ingress and egress rules, and also it is going to create a disk. So and it is asking for you like a plan out. The plan is to create two to add, and do you want to perform this action. So let's see any changes here, and if you see here, we can see one more file is added, like Terraform log hc info and Terraform tf state. You can see this one. Okay, so once you apply it, then you will be able to see that. So I'm going to run it, so I'm going to say yes, and now you can see that it's creating a security group, and then you can see next it will create ingress and egress, then it is creating a volume. So now it is completed. So now we'll go to our folder, and if you see here tf state. Okay, what is this tf state actually? So whenever we executed the state, that whatever we executed, that state will be available here. We can see it here. Okay, so now we can see here like what is exactly happened, like in our previous apply state. So this is what happened. We can see clearly what is that it like the state what happened exactly. So this is and it will save it for our reference. And so now let's go to our console and see what is going on, what happened actually. So if you refresh it, we are able to see that volume is created and with the size of 1 GB, and the type is gp2. Okay, we are good. Now if we go to ec2 instance, sorry, network security group, we'll be able to see our security group, my security group, which is this one. Sec group is the one which we created. This is the one we created, and we have outbound rule as well as inbound rule with all TCP allowed, and like a protocol is TCP, and all ports are allowable, like allowed from all resources, all sources. So we are good with this. Whatever we try to create, those are already created. So now this is done, and what if you want to delete it? So you can go here and you can go action, and you can delete the security group, and you to go to volume, and also you can select this one and you can delete it. But if it is only two objects, you are going to do it. But if you have if you created multiple objects using the Terraform, and if you want to delete it, it will take a lot of time. So best way is like what you can do is like running destroy. Terraform destroys the command which we can use to delete the resources whatever we created. So most of the time pre-production, like when some deployment is about to go to production, they want to have a quick test, then obviously they will create QA or staging environments to test it, and they will run this command to delete it right away. So production we won't do it, but yeah, non-prod we will do it. So the command is terraform destroy is the command. Once you do it, so it will ask for confirmation. You really want to delete the resources. Once you say yes, then it starts destroying the resources. If you go here and if you refresh, it's gone now. And even if you go to security group, whatever the group we created, it's already gone. So yeah, so we are successfully created and we deleted it. So if you go to the folder which we created, if still we see a backup file, tf state backup file and a tf state. So and even you can see a lock file. So that makes sure that what happens is like only one user is executing it at a time. If multiple users are trying to execute it, if it is logged by some user, then obviously second user may not run that may not execute that file. So and even if it is in progress, it will be logged. So tf state is like whatever is getting executed, that information will be available. But anyhow, now we destroyed it, I think there won't be any information here, only the version details will be available. If it is not destroyed, then you'll be able to see it, and the backup file will have the information of the last executed information here. Whatever we executed, that will be available here, and the tf state file will be named dot backup, and that will be available. And yeah, this is what we have for now. And if you look at the code, so now we have given providers, resources, everything here. So if real-time deployments, if you do like this, the code will be in hundreds of lines and it will be very much difficult. And if you want to do any changes, for example, you are using for example, you are creating some object multiple times. If you want to change anything, like for example the port numbers you want to change, you have to go and change everywhere. Instead of that, what we can do is we can uh, we can create a variable file. So we can also create a provider file, and we can move this provider information to the provider file, and resources information to resource file where only resource information will available, as well as instead of hard coding this access code and security code and even region information, we can create variables. And using variables without hard coding, we are using variables, we can give inputs. And what is the advantage means, if you are sharing this code with somebody else, simply they will update the variables and they can use the same code in their environment. So that is the reason, advantage of using the variables. And in our upcoming video, we will do the same what we have discussed. We'll create variables, we'll create a provider file, we'll create resource file, and then we'll try to do the same and see how it goes. Along with that, we also create output files and output information, so that whenever you create a security group, we want to know the ID of security group, we can get it. You can get the output here. And it's even if you want to know the Terraform volume name, using the output file, we can get the output information here. So in our next video, we'll be doing that. And for now, yeah, that's all for this video. I hope this is informative, and thanks for watching. For any queries, yeah, always reach out to me on vstudentblog@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye bye.